Hello everyone and welcome back to Leo Media. It's time for your weekly movie update, covering everything from box office numbers to the biggest industry news. Let's get into it. First up, let's talk about Snow White. This movie has been at the center of attention lately, but unfortunately not for good reasons. On IMDb, it received over 270,000 votes, dropping its rating to an all-time low of 1, before a slight climb to 1.6. Financially, it's not doing much better, with a total budget including marketing of $330 million. The film only made $50 million during its opening week. Globally, it has earned $90 million so far, but it's shaping up to be one of Disney's biggest financial failures. Beyond the box office, the controversy surrounding Snow White continues. Gal Gadot revealed in an interview that she's been dealing with death threats, which has led her to hire personal security. Meanwhile, the producer of the film publicly blamed lead actress Rachel Zegler for the movie's poor reception, claiming her politically charged twist hurt his chances. He even mentioned taking a flight to personally request she delete certain posts, but Zegler refused. On her part, Zegler has taken to social media to paint the film's performance as a success. She's only 23 and time will tell if this setback impacts her career long term. Speaking of challenges, the Russo brothers faced their own issues last week with the release of Electric Estate. After the film's underperformance, Netflix, which produced it, stayed silent. However, Disney couldn't ignore the situation, as the Russo brothers are set to direct 2 future Avengers films. The backlash from Marvel fans was so significant that Disney held a 5-hour YouTube live stream to reassure fans about the MCU's future. During the event, they announced a long list of returning and new cast members for the upcoming Avengers films. The announcement included Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen reprising their iconic roles, along with Rebecca Romijn and James Marsden returning as Mystique and Cyclops. New additions included Channing Tatum and the Fantastic Four cast, led by Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby. Familiar faces like Robert Downey Jr., Sebastian Stan, and Florence Pugh are also confirmed to return. Marvel also released a trailer for the upcoming Ironheart series, which will introduce a young inventor who builds her own Iron Man suit. The show is set to premiere in June. The upcoming Avengers film are rumored to have a combined budget exceeding $600 million. Interestingly, the Russo brothers themselves recently spoke out about Hollywood's tendency to overspend on movies, pointing out how financial losses are damaging the industry. This critique is notable given the high budget of their own recent projects, including The Electric Estate, The Gray Man, and Citadel. On a broader scale, the challenges facing Hollywood are part of a large shift in entertainment consumption. Last week, Deloitte released a study analyzing how different generations spend their time on media. The findings revealed that while Americans spend an average of 6 hours a day on entertainment, preferences vary widely by generations. For Gen Z, social media is the top choice, followed by streaming platforms like Netflix and YouTube. Traditional movies and TV are still popular across other generations, but are losing ground to newer forms of entertainment like video games. This shift is reshaping the industry. Independent films and non-franchise releases are struggling to find an audience in theaters. Last week, movies like Novocaine, Black Bag, and Mickey 17 performed poorly at the box office, with Mickey 17 alone losing $75 million. However, many of these films are expected to find a second life on the streaming platforms, where studios hope to recover losses. The takeaway here is that cinema isn't disappearing, it's evolving. Streaming and franchises now dominate, shaping the studio strategies. Standalone films struggle at the box office while streaming platforms furiously compete. Just last week, reports emerged that Apple TV, despite losing $1 billion annually, continues investing in high-budget projects like Severance, which signed 90% viewership boost in Season 2. This growth-driven approach highlights how platforms prioritize long-term success over immediate profits. Moving on to upcoming films, some exciting behind-the-scenes updates were revealed last week. New images from Christopher Nolan's Odyssey featured Matt Damon in the lead role, alongside Zendaya, who looks like Athena, the goddess of wisdom and warfare. Production of this highly anticipated movie will continue for the next 4 months, with a release date set for July 2026. Meanwhile, the romantic drama Wuthering Heights, a fresh adaptation of Emily Bronte's iconic novel, also shared its first behind-the-scenes photos. Margot Robbie is seen wearing a wedding dress in the images, will star in the film. Directed by the same filmmaker behind Saltburn, this adaptation is set to premiere in theaters next February. Now let's dive into casting news, starting with Nick Frost, who's reportedly in talk to play Hagrid in the upcoming Harry Potter TV series. Known for Hot Fuzz and The World's End, his casting has been well received due to his resemblance to the late Robbie Coltrane. On the other hand, casting news for the reboot of the Resident Evil film franchise has sparked mixed reactions. The lead role will be played by Austin Abrams, best known for Euphoria. However, fans of the game series were quick to voice their disappointment, especially after learning that the screenplay will be handled by the same writers behind Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon. Both films were poorly received. Scheduled for release in September 2026, the film promises a darker, more faithful adaptation of the games. In other casting news, Christoph Waltz and Renee Zellweger joined Only Murders in the Building for Season 5. Following Meryl Streep's appearance last season, the show continues to attract top Hollywood talents. Two major productions began filming last week. Disney confirmed Coco 2 is in production for a 2029 release, following the Oscar-winning success for the original. Meanwhile, The Passion of the Christ Resurrection is now expected to debut in 2026, with filming starting this summer. Switching to television, there's been a lot of buzz around The Last of Us Season 2. The first 2 episodes were recently screened for critics and received overwhelmingly positive reviews. Interestingly, the cast and crew have been hinted that episode 6 of this season will be especially impactful, describing it as the emotional core of the series. Bella Ramsey, who plays Ellie, shared a heartfelt personal story during the red carpet premiere. She revealed that she was recently diagnosed as autistic after a conversation with a crew member who recognized her traits. Bella said that the diagnosis has helped her better understand herself, bringing her a sense of peace. On the industry side, 2 iconic franchises made headlines last week after being put up for sale. First, the James Bond franchise finally found a new producer. Amazon appointed Amy Pascal, best known for her work on the Spider-Man films. However, Bond fans expressed concerns over Pascal's history of behind-the-scenes conflict with actors like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Some worry that similar issues could arise with the Bond series. Meanwhile, the Jason Bourne franchise is up for grabs, with Netflix, Apple, and Amazon competing with the rights. This bidding war highlights the growing dominance of the streaming platforms in the film industry. Another update about upcoming movies is related to Mission Impossible 8, which has reportedly surpassed a budget of $400 million, making it one of the most expensive films in cinema history. The previous installment had a budget of $290 million and was a box office flop, only gaining success later through streaming. Costly delays, Tom Cruise's extreme stunts, and a 10-day submarine mishap contributed to the soaring budget. The film hits theaters on May 21. Speaking of Tom Cruise, it was recently confirmed that he's setting a star in a space film alongside Ana de Armas, and will reunite with her for Deeper, an ocean thriller. Inspired by his space training, Deeper follows a disgraced astronaut hired to explore a deep-sea trench, where he encounters a mysterious creature. Moving on to streaming platforms, a trending miniseries titled Adolescence has been making waves on social media. It has become one of the most watched limited series in Netflix history, drawing comparisons to shows like Baby Reindeer and Maid. Within its first 2 weeks, it got 66 million views, breaking records for a Netflix miniseries and topping the charts in the UK. Inspired by real-life crime, it sparked controversy for casting a white actor as the lead, despite the true story involving a black teenager. The creator defended the choice, stating the characters are fictional and only loosely inspired by news reports. Another major filmmaking headline is Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, who earned $30 million despite the film's $150 million budget. Early buzz suggests his performance rivaled Daniel Day-Lewis' Oscar-winning role, fueling award speculation. The story follows hippies plotting to kill a mafia boss, shot with IMAX cameras, and releases this September. Sydney Sweeney is making major moves in Hollywood, both as an actress and producer. She acquired I Pretended to Be a Missing Girl, a script based on a viral Reddit story, hiring Forrest Gump's writer Eric Roth to adapt it. The film follows a homeless girl who scams a wealthy family by posing as their missing daughter. Sweeney will star in the lead role with major studios backing the project. She also stars in Echo Valley, a crime drama with Julianne Moore about a mother whose daughter returns home covered in blood, premiering June 13. In personal news, Sweeney confirmed her breakup with her fiancé while vacationing in Africa, deleting the last photo together on Instagram. Fans had speculated about the split due to their 14 years age gap. Meanwhile, Pedro Pascal and Jennifer Aniston sparked dating rumors after a 3-hour dinner. Though Pascal denied any romance. Speculations grew as both have been single for years. Aniston, who has been open about past relationship struggles, hasn't dated in 6 years, while Pascal has reportedly been single for a decade. In a fun twist, Jason Statham found a creative way to promote his upcoming film, The Worker. The action star created a LinkedIn profile under the name A Worker, where he listed jobs like construction foreman, transport officer, mechanic, and of course, beekeeper. To add to the fun, his resume included skills like hand-to-hand combat, high-speed driving, and firearms expertise. Basically, Jason Statham in a nutshell. Alright friends, that wraps up this week's video. If you found it interesting, don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you in the next week's update. Take care.